In 2009, Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky was released on the Nintendo DS. Unlike standard Pokémon games, this is a roguelike. A roguelike is a subgenre of role-playing games, characterized by dungeon crawling through procedurally generated levels and severe penalties for failure. When you collapse in a dungeon here, you don't wake up safely at a Pokémon Center. This flowchart shows the basic loop. Enter a dungeon, succeed, and gain loot. Faint and forfeit over half your money and inventory. You're then ejected to Treasure Town, the central hub acting as your sole intervention point against bankruptcy. The hub contains 11 distinct facilities, from storage banks to juice bars, all aggressively competing for your remaining time, money, and items. Spending your resources inefficiently at these storefronts mathematically drains your capital just as severely as dying in a boss fight. We need to evaluate this hub through a strict return on investment, or ROI, analysis. ROI is a financial metric used to evaluate the efficiency and profitability of an investment relative to its initial cost. By running these numbers, we will determine exactly which facilities guarantee your survival and which are dangerous resource traps. The foundation of your economy relies on Tier 1 facilities. These are shops designed exclusively to protect your capital. Duskull Bank and Kangaskhan Storage let you manually deposit your money and crucial items, effectively isolating your wealth from the dungeon penalty loop. The cost here is time. You have to walk over and manually offload your assets before every single expedition. Do this consistently, and a dungeon wipe costs you exactly 0 Pokédollars and 0 critical items. Marowak's Dojo applies this zero-risk model to combat. It provides isolated training mazes where dying carries absolutely no penalty. The trade-off is progression. The loot and experience yields in the dojo are drastically lower than what you earn by pushing the main story dungeons. Tier 1 guarantees absolute safety for your reserves. However, hoarding all your best gear in town forces you to rely entirely on whatever random items you happen to scavenge to survive your next actual mission. If Tier 1 is about saving, Tier 2 is about spending. These facilities require you to invest resources to multiply your raw combat power. Electivire's Link Shop allows you to select 2 distinct attacks and link them, fusing them together into a single turn for massive burst damage, and it charges you 0 Pokédollars to do it. This graph illustrates the catch. Combat power spikes, but your belly, the hunger meter, drains twice as fast. This shifts inventory math. You must dedicate more bag space to apples, leaving less room for healing and loot. Chansey's Egg Hut and Sawtooth's Appraisal operate as secondary Tier 2 investments, but their payouts are delayed. Sawtooth charges a fixed fee of 150 Pokédollars to unlock a chest. You pay that flat rate without knowing if the item inside is a rare artifact or useless vendor trash. These Tier 2 facilities grant you severe tactical advantages in combat. The trade-off is that they introduce constant, dangerous pressure on your daily food and cash reserves. The final tier consists of permanent resource conversion engines. Spinda's Cafe and Wobbuffet and Wynot's Explore Recycle Stall form an interconnected economic loop. To use them, you have to willingly sacrifice high volumes of your foundational survival items. You are throwing away your apples, throwing away your seeds, and your berries. In exchange, those temporary items are converted into permanent baseline stat-boosting drinks and tickets for exclusive lottery loot. Down in the guild, Krogunk's Swap Shop runs a similar racket. He demands multiple rare, species-specific items in exchange for forging elite, specialized gear. Acquiring the base materials for Krogunk requires dozens of hours of targeted grinding in specific dungeons. Engaging with Tier 3 in the early game is a fatal trap. If you cannibalize your essential survival seeds for a minor stat bump early on, you will find yourself completely defenseless in standard dungeons. To build a definitive roadmap, this matrix compares input cost against dungeon impact. Bank and storage sit firmly in the top left, requiring minimal effort but yielding maximum impact. Spinda, Wynout, and Krogunk sit top light. Their costs are astronomical, but permanently elevate your stats. If you are a survival-focused beginner, rigidly bind yourself to the top left quadrant. Deposit everything and completely ignore the Tier 3 resourcings. If you are a mid-game optimizer, start leveraging the Link Shop to secure burst damage. You can afford this as soon as you have mastered exactly how many apples you need to carry per floor. Once you become an endgame completionist, you have clearance to pivot entirely to the top right quadrant. Liquidate your basic assets to forge the permanent stat upgrades required to survive the brutal post-game dungeons. Treasure Town operates as a complex financial puzzle. Mastering its economy is the only reliable method for conquering the RNG of the dungeons themselves. RNG, or random number generation, is the underlying math that dictates the unpredictable map layouts, relentless enemy spawns, and volatile item drops you face on every single floor.